What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up and Chat. My name is BJ Mathews, aka B. Just before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast, Spotify, Iheartradio, Twitter, TikTok, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast as well. Like, share, subscribe all of our YouTube video pages. Hit that notification bell by the subscribe button. Get our updated content. Let's get it popping. All right, check it out. It's gonna be a good one for y'all today. We're gonna mix this in with some basketball and some sports debate talk. This is gonna be this episode right here. Yesterday I talked about the Lakers struggle. You know, they losing to the Clippers, getting completely annihilated on the basketball court. But we're going to talk about a little bit of a little Twitter, wouldn't say a beef, but a little bit of a Twitter confrontation. That was pretty much one-sided, and the other side kind of, chose to back off. Like I said, the Lakers have been struggling, and this is going to be revolving around one of their players, Russell Westbrook, but not Russell Westbrook, more so Russell Westbrook's wife, Nina Westbrook. So many things to unveil about the situation, and so many things I want to make very clear in this video that I'm going to make. First thing is first. Twitter, everybody knows what Twitter is. You know what I'm saying? The social media platform, one of the biggest platforms on planet Earth. You know, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all those are big social media engines, right? Nina Westbrook, who's Russell Westbrook's wife, made a tweet to Skip Bayless yesterday, pretty much calling out Skip Bayless for all of his criticism towards Russell Westbrook, and also, most importantly, calling him Russell Westbrook instead of Russell Westbrook. So basically calling him Westbrook because of, how many shots he missed this year, and then him not having the best year. It's kind of made Skip Bayless, have little shots towards Russell Westbrook. But he's been saying this for a few years now, right? So obviously, Russell Westbrook having a wife and his wife defending him, took to Twitter and basically told Skip Bayless, "You're disrespectful. When you disrespect my name, when you disrespect him, my husband, you're disrespecting my entire family. Everybody else, in my family have the name Russell Westbrook or Westbrook as their last name. So you're disrespecting an entire group of people. You don't even know it. You're very childish. I think you should apologize." That was the emphasis on pretty much the tweet, how it went. My thoughts on the situation and how I feel about Skip Bayless and how I feel about also just other analysts in general and why we continuously make this platform. So let's get into it. So first off, the tweet. I got no problem with what Nina Westbrook said to Skip Bayless because, again, that's her husband. She sees him every single night, and she sees him in a different light from the masses of other people. When it becomes to family, family is separate from fans, and other people in the outside world, right? So she's going to feel some type of way towards her husband, who's the father of her children, and who she's been with dating back since UCLA. So I got to give her credit for that. And, this also tells me that it's taken a big toll on Russell Westbrook all this whole entire season. Him being criticized for the Lakers struggle throughout the entire year. Pretty much his name has kind of been, the talk of why the Lakers have been struggling entirely. There's been other situations and other things that are making the Lakers struggle, but he's been the main focus, right? Look, Westbrook, to me, he should have never been on the Lakers to begin with. He does not fit with this team at all. And we got to start looking at okay, well, yeah, he's struggling, but you got to look at all the other things. LeBron James, not the player what he used to be. Anthony Davis being hurt. Their other pieces, surrounding pieces, are not able to fit together. So that's what we got to come to the conclusion. But back to the situation. Skip Bayless, he's one of the guys that makes a lot of controversy on TV. He gets a lot of his hits through, unfortunately, insulting people. You talk about guys like LeBron James, who he can't seem to stop talking about. Floyd Mayweather in the past. Other athletes. He just goes back and forth with them to get some type of ratings. And he's one of the biggest personalities on the country, right? And with that, you're going to get some people who's going to give you some backlash. You're not going to be able to make everyone happy. You're going to offend some people. Actually, in Skip Bayless's case, a lot of people. But with him, he doesn't seem to care. He doesn't seem to care that he offends you. He feels like what he's saying is part of his job. And if you're not happy with what he says, perfectly fine and perfectly okay. I'm good with that. I'm good with analysts criticizing players. I'm good with analysts telling like it is. If somebody's messing up, you call it out. Charles Barkley said that a few days ago. Like, you can't lose your credibility by trying to be friendly with other players. So I give Skip Bayless that credit. He doesn't seem to back down from his takes. But I'm going to say this other part. And this is why certain times people who don't play the game of basketball or play sports in general, their credibility goes somewhat down. I'm not saying you have to play sports to have credibility to talk about sports, but you can put your foot in your mouth if you're not careful. And Skip Bayless, to me, puts his foot in his mouth because he says things that are, first of all, inaccurate, but he feels like he's being honest, that he's saying the right things. There's a difference between being honest and being truthful. You can be honest, saying what's on your heart and on your mind and mean it with every being in your fiber, but you can also be wrong in everything that you're saying. And I see Skip Bayless being that type of person. He'll say something totally outrageous, outlandish, and think he's correct or he's right or he has a right to say it, and nobody should bat an eye or no one should have a problem with what he's saying. And he'll stand by it. So that's with that. But as far as, like I said, with credibility, there's been times in the past where I look at Skip Bayless. You know, he has that show with Shannon Sharp called Undisputed, which is one of the shows I watch constantly because, you know, it has a lot of ratings. And him and Shannon have the perfect connection on that show. They're very similar on how they make certain takes, outlandish, outrageous takes, to get people going and get ratings going, right? Which, all right, fine. But there'll be certain topics I hear him talk about Shannon Sharp, and it's just like, bro, that's obviously wrong what you just said. Like with Paul George, you know, he's one of the few that calls Paul George still to this day Pandemic P. And I'm surprised Paul George's girlfriend, wife, or, you know, somebody hasn't checked him, because I get when you are going through a drought or somebody's not playing particularly well in their particular sport, you can criticize them, right? But when he's proven already last year in the playoffs what he did, there's no reason to keep calling this man Pandemic P. And he jokingly tries to do it, tries to brush it off. He calls it like, oh yeah, Pandemic P or Playoff P showed up tonight. Like, dude, like, this is the type of stuff that gets people, you know, calling you out. You know, you probably get a high off of that. You probably don't care because you're going to get people to watch your show. But I'm saying I don't respect a lot of people's opinions on these shows, these sports shows, because they don't know the game of basketball. They never touched basketball. And they're not doing it from a researcher's point. They're doing it from trying to get some type of entertainment and some type of ratings for their show. There's just one show I watch on YouTube, Dreamers Pro. Shout out to Dreamers Pro. Shout out to the host of that show. He has very, very good takes on basketball. He never played basketball, but I was very respectful of what he does for the YouTube and the platform for different YouTubers as myself, because he knows how to break the game down to a T as if he played the game. And when he criticizes people, it's in a fair, logical way. But Skip Bayless, to me, like many of those guys on TV, don't know basketball and don't know sports really in general. Like, there's certain times I look at Skip Bayless's takes and I'll be like, man, you could make Shannon Sharp look so stupid, but if you don't know the game, so you miss so many opportunities. And that's who Skip Bayless is. And I think it's time for us, as YouTubers who actually know, you know, the sports world, the younger YouTuber, younger generation, to try to move up and try to take over, because Skip Bayless he's like almost damn near 75 years old, 80 years old. People want to see some fresh new faces on these screens. So we do this, first of all, to protect the players who play, as I used to play basketball overseas. But these guys get a bad rep sometimes, and they're not even accurate. Russell Westbrook, I'm pretty much sure that this is taking a toll on him. I already mentioned yesterday that he got defensive with a reporter for asking a general question, which I don't think he would have got offended had it been a more natural time. Like, they just lost to the Clippers, got blown out. Russell Westbrook, he's only hear the media get on him. So he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to swing back. I'm tired of them, continue to mess with me. So I get both sides. I know Skip Bayless, he stays with his takes and all that, but I understand what Nina Westbrook is saying. But all in all, it is what it is. Y'all can continue to follow our YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast, Spotify, Iheartradio, Twitter, TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Pull up a seat, pull up a chair, pull up. Peace. Out here like swimwear.